Good evening and welcome to the evening news. I am Olubumi Ajiboye Agbola. Osun State Governor Senator Ademola Adeleke has assured the armed forces of expanded level of partnership in line with the security sector reform of his administration that places welfare of personnel at the center stage. The governor gave the assurance while launching the year 2023 Armed Forces Remembrance Day at the Local Government Service Commission Hall, Government Secretariat, Osogbo. He stressed that the stability of the nation rests on the gallantry, patriotism, and sacrifice of the officers and men of the Nigerian Armed Forces. The governor, after launching with handsome amount of money, was decorated with the emblem by the representative of the Nigerian Army. Earlier in his address, the chairman of Osun State chapter of the Nigerian Legion, Comrade Oladipo Peter, lauded the governor, who doubles as the patron of the Nigerian Legion, for identifying with fallen heroes. The Independent National Electoral Commission has commenced online accreditation for journalists and media organizations wishing to cover the 2023 general elections. According to the flyer issued by INEC today in Abuja, interested media organizations wishing to deploy journalists to cover the election are to apply online. It stated that INEC portal will be accessible from January 5 to February 5. INEC also says it has imported additional bimodal voters accreditation system machines that will be deployed nationwide in all the polling units for the 2023 elections. The National Commissioner and Chairman, Information and Voter Education Committee, Mr. Festus Okoye, told journalists in Abuja that INEC will deploy over 194,464 BVAS machines in 176,846 polling units across the country. He also said that the commission took delivery of the last batch of the machines in Abuja, adding that it is in line with its contingency provisions for all critical election materials. Mr. Okoye added that the commission created 4 airport hubs in Abuja, Kano, Lagos, and Port Harcourt to facilitate the smooth delivery of the machines. The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control says it has procured no fewer than 43 TrueScan scanning equipment worth $2.45 million to check the quality and quantity of drugs produced and imported into the country. The Director General of NAFDAC, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, disclosed it at a press conference held in Abuja. She also said that NAFDAC would reach World Health Organization maturity level 4 and world listed authority status by the first quarter of 2024 to enable global trade of Nigerian-made pharmaceuticals through collaborative registration with other regulatory agencies, among others. Professor Adeyeye described TrueScan as an handheld device used for on-the-spot detection of the counterfeit medicines, and that will allow regulators and law enforcement agents to conduct field-based screening of pharmaceutical samples to quickly and accurately identify counterfeits. According to her, the new initiative will also enable the agency to attain vaccine lot release ML4 to position Nigeria strategically for vaccine manufacturing. Meanwhile, the World Health Organization has said that China's recent COVID-19 outbreak is predominantly led by the Omicron subvariant BA.5.2 and BF.7. The WHO disclosed this in a press statement, adding that the subvariant accounts for 97.5% of all local infections. It said it would continue to monitor the situation in China and globally, as well as to conduct independent and comparative analysis of the different Omicron sublineages, including on the severity of disease, the cause, and urged all countries to continue to be vigilant. Meanwhile, Nigeria's Center for Disease Control has said that the country recorded 35 new cases of COVID-19 infections in last December. Reports say that the center stated on its website that 22 of the cases were recorded in the Federal Capital Territory, 10 were recorded in Lagos State, and 2 were also recorded in Delta. while one was recorded in Plateau State. The NCDC has, however, said that the COVID-19 Omicron sublineage is partly responsible for the current increase in COVID-19 cases in China. The United States and the United Kingdom have not yet been detected in the country. Petroleum Tanker Drivers Branch of National Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers has threatened strike over what is called the illegal activities and high-handedness of some security agencies, particularly the military task force in the Port Harcourt zone of the Union. National Chairman of the PTD Nupeng, Comrade Lucky Oseswa, told reporters that at the Nupeng Secretariat Abuja that men of the military task force in Port Harcourt burnt 2 trucks conveying a petroleum product known as black oil, as the truck drivers were falsely accused of transporting crude oil. According to the PTD Nupeng National Chairman, the trucks, which lifted the black oil at a modular refinery, Watersmith Refinery, and Petrochemical Ibigwe, Imo State, were intercepted between Hauda and Elele in Rivers State. Comrade Oseswa further disclosed that they were conveying 40,000 liters each of the black oil to Bob and C Depot, Cocoa Delta State. He told journalists that the drivers of the 2 trucks were polite in their responses and presented all the necessary documents to officers of the military, who ignored the documents, rebuffed appeals, and burnt the trucks. Governor of Ondo State, Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, has imposed a dusk to dawn curfew on Ikare Akoko, the headquarters of Akoko Northeast Local Government of Ondo State. According to the governor, in a statement issued by his chief press secretary, Richard Olatunde, the 24-hour curfew takes immediate effect. The statement added that the curfew became imperative following the violent clashes that rocked the New Year's Carnival in the town, which resulted in the killings of some youths in the ancient community. Reports say sporadic gunshots pervaded the community earlier in the week when some youths loyal to Olukare of Ikare Akoko and the Owale of Iyometa engaged in bloody clash over the usage of Okoja quarters for the carnival. While expressing disappointment over the continued clashes between the 2 factions, the traditional rulers, Akeredolu, said that security operatives have been mobilized to ensure strict compliance with the curfew. And moving on to sports, the Nigeria Cricket Federation has announced the commencement of entry for its biggest youth event, the PWC NCF National Under-17 Cricket Championship, which zonal headquarters and qualifiers will hold from January 20 to 30 at different venues across the country. The organizing committee chairman, Tayo Showale, has affirmed that about 1,000 boys and girls took part in the zonal qualifiers and national finals of the 2022 edition, and more entries are being processed ahead of the January 20, 2023 qualifiers. He explained that the 2023 PWC NCF Under-17 National Cricket Championship will reset the standard of the event going forward, as the facilities for this year's finals are better than the previous editions. While on the foreign scene, the European Union has recommended that all member states insist on negative COVID-19 tests from Chinese arrivals before they travel. The recommendation on negative tests came from the EU's Integrated Political Crisis Response Group, a body made up of officials from the EU's 27 governments. Some EU countries have already introduced testing, despite earlier advice that it was unjustified, as travel in and out of China gets easier as part of the scrapping of the zero COVID-19 policy. The World Health Organization warns that China is currently seeing a surge in COVID cases, with reports of hospitals and crematoriums being overwhelmed. It also advised that all passengers on flights to and from China wear face masks, alongside random testing of flights from China be introduced, and wastewater monitoring be conducted at airports. And that ends the evening news on OSBC TV. Do join us at 7 for the major reports. Good evening.